Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi ta'ala wabarakatuh. We are from group number 5. Are going to present to you our group project topic, which is Audit Enhanced Public Sector Accountability, a Malaysian Perspective. So let us begin with first presenter. My name is Nurul Syahira binti Aziz, and I will present my part, which is introduction and literature review article number 1.
Currently, governance in public administration has become a global issue because of the government failure, such as poor internal control and financial management. Then accountability is synonymous with such definition as answerability, obligation, and other terms that associate with the expectation of accounting. Transparency is the key detecting of the effectiveness of the government, as the accounting is a crucial factor in determining good government and the credibility of political authority. Every action that has been taken need to be explained to the public or local community. The Malaysian constitution also need to speak on the accountability, especially when it involves in public property. Moreover, in order to enhance the accountability in the public sector, understanding the way to improve accountability in the public sector is very essential. The public sector performance measurement cover both of the financial and non-financial performance. This paper also report on cost effectiveness and productivity. Moreover, performance measurement can be defined as the regular generations, compilation, review and monitoring of data on how an agency performs in order to enhance it. Then, reporting and publishing administrative performance to ensure that significant government entities are held to an equitable standard, and the benchmarking on how organization is performing using its internal performance. Next, there are a few examples of reused performance measurement in the United Kingdom government. There seems to be a great confidence to increase efficiency and strengthen transparency in the public sector. The limitation of success performance measurement in Malaysia was implemented in various settings, beginning in the early 1990s through Quality Management Initiative and Productivity Improvement Project. Abdul Khalid found that by the end of 2007, not every authority had the system completely in place. Then, the government, especially the top-level management, need to have a comprehensive understanding and education program regarding the value what they deliver to resource owner.
My name is Syahira binti Kamarudin. Next, I will proceed with the literature review from the second article, which is enhancement of the accountability of public sectors through integrity system, internal control system, and leadership practice. First of all, in order to meet the public demand for a more transparent and accountable government, most nations have reformed their public sector. The focus is on public sector reform is to make sure services more effective and efficient. It is also necessary to transform the public sector into a reliable and efficient sector, while at the same time having a good governance ethic. It is very important to understand how to improve public sector accountability so we can ensure a better public sector. For the firstly, integrity system for accountability in public sector. Numerous areas such as organizational behavior, management of human resource, psychology, and leadership have mentioned the concept of integrity, and it is not only discussed in the area of ethics. From an organization's perspective, what defines the integrity or moral behavior is not only referring to the act of corruption or act of fraud, but it goes to the extent of quality and characteristic of an individual or organizational behavior in representing their qualities of the action, as it will be correspondent with the morals, standards, and rules that are accepted by the members of the organization. Integrity encourages workers to have respect and help in instilling values that promote ethical behavior. In short, integrity acts as an important role in guaranteeing responsibility. The second is internal control system and accountability in public sector. In the literature on management control, internal control has been addressed in many ways and is a multi-dimensional concept. A good internal control, while detecting errors and irregularities, may prevent the incidence of bad funding and helping organizations to operate effectively and harmoniously. Internal control is functioning as the support to the system, whereas the decision maker took responsibility for it. However, the organization could be at risk if we do not establish a reliable and trustworthy system while risking effort to promote public sector accountability. Lastly, is leadership practice and accountability in public sector. The leadership practice for consistency and positive performance. In teamwork, by having quality, safety and innovation, we can achieve effective leadership. With this current development, we also need a manager with a charisma in order to lead the worker. Most of them struggle to improve the leadership tasks, which they can understand with the limited of time. Furthermore, bad consequences can occur and work group performance can be weakened when the leader's behavior is too different than the followers' expectations.
My name is Qurratulaini Arina binti Azman. For my part, I will present to you regarding with two articles that have been prepared. So let us start with the first slide for the first article. The first article or speech that is titled Enhancing Accountability and Integrity in the Malaysian Public Sector. Are we doing enough? From this speech text, there are a few issues have been highlighted which comprise of the late submissions of accounts for audit by the department and agencies, the low level of compliance of the agencies and departments when measuring using the accountability index, the 3P problems regarding with the audit report, and the accountability and integrity issues of GLCs that involve in practicing a good corporate governance. So, the first highlighted issue is related with the late submission of accounts for audit by the department and agencies. The arising issue is why are the departments and agencies late in submitting their accounts for auditing? Whatever the reason is, it is the responsibilities of those agencies and departments to submit their accounts. How comes others can prepare and submit their accounts before their deadline, which is 30 April, as stipulated by the Treasury? The problem will arise because when they are late, then the other accounts and annual report will be late to be tabled in Parliament or the DUNS. So, where is the accountability? The point to be made here is that most of these agencies have been preparing accounts for years and years, yet they are still struggling maybe because their records were not properly maintained or their financial people are not up to mark. Is there an integrity issue here? We may ask. So, the second issue is regarding with the low level of compliance of the agencies and departments when measuring using the accountability index. For the sake of good governance, compliance with governance regulations and procedures is a must for every civil workers that handling public money. So, to measure the level of compliance, the accountability index has been introduced. Those who achieve at least 90% mark is given 4-star or excellent rating. However, there are still more of the agencies out there has been given 3-star. So why of them were given 3-star, meaning that they have not done enough? Therefore, through the accountability index, we can see an improving trend in the financial management, but everybody should strive to obtain the 4-star rating. Next, the third issue is the 3P problems regarding with the audit report. 3P refer to pemborosan, pembaziran, and penyelewengan. We acknowledge that the government has the best of intentions when allocating resources, but invariably the outcome, as reported in the audit report, has not been favorable to the good image of the department or agency. Perhaps a more important area to focus when deliberating accountability and integrity issue is the planning, implementing, and monitoring of government programs and projects. The fourth one is related to the accountability and integrity issues of GLCs that involve in practicing a good corporate governance. GLCs, or government-linked companies, are companies with a primary commercial objective and a direct control stake by the Malaysian government. GLICs are government investment arms which allocate the GLCs with government funds. The problems arise when they as the business entity should making profit instead of incur losses. Although it is understandable that they will incur losses, especially in the start of operation, but if they have been around for so long yet continue accumulated losses despite all the assistance from the government, clearly they are not competitive and clearly there is something wrong with the corporate governance. Besides that, there are some GLCs involved in the scandals but who has to be made accountable for the matter. Most of the GLCs involve officials from the government whose obligation is to consult on the government's regulation and policy prepared. Should they be held responsible if the company continues to incur losses or fails to comply with the rules and regulations? Next, we will move to the next slide. This slide is regarding with the factors that contribute to the Malaysian public sector's effectiveness through internal audit functions that consist of the internal auditor's independence, internal auditor's competency, relationship between the internal auditor and external auditor, and then other findings that comprise of ad hoc duties and the auditor and auditee interaction. So, the first factor, which is the internal auditor's independence. Independence by right means that the freedom from conditions which jeopardize the ability of an internal audit activity to perform an internal audit duties in an impartial manner. All the activities involved related to the internal audit must be based on the concept of independency. Hence, the internal auditors must be unbiased in carrying out their work. Through the article, it has been stated that for this factor, which is internal auditor's independence, the effectiveness of the internal auditor is significantly influenced by the independence of the internal auditors. The report they produce will be accused of bias if the internal auditors are not being independent, which in turn is meaningless in enhancing the public sector's accountability as a whole. Second, the second factor is internal auditor's competency. Competency is the ability of an individual to perform a job or task properly being a set of defined knowledge, skills, and behavior. In order to achieve competency, various types of training and development should be provided to internal auditors. A competent internal auditor will have all the skills necessary to produce a good audit report. Next, the third factor is the relationship between the internal auditor and external auditor. It is very important for both internal and external auditors to have a good professional relationship. Coordination and cooperation between internal and external auditors has major influence in producing a quality audit report. Examples of such coordination and cooperation include joint planning and exchange of information, opinions, and reports to facilitate higher quality audits and prevent unnecessary duplication of work. In addition, a good relationship will help internal auditors to solve the ongoing mismanagement in the organization, whereby they can suggest the external auditor to audit certain topic that needs attention. Then the fourth one is other findings that comprise of ad hoc duties and the auditor and auditee interaction. So, for the ad hoc duties, as in the public sector, there is so much for the internal auditors to cover in spite of the staff restraints. However, they also need to carry out the organization's operational responsibilities alongside their internal audit duties, for example, answering the audit observations and doing ad hoc works. From the article, it can be said that there are ad hoc duties internal auditors have to perform actually will affect the quality of the auditing. This in turn affects the internal audit effectiveness in the public sector. Then the other finding, which is we have the auditor and auditee interaction. It is significant that a good relationship exists between the auditees in the organization. Without such connection, the auditors might as well not be around, and then if they are still around, their job experience usually becomes quite a painful one. Hence, a good relationship between internal auditor and the other parties in an organization is important so that coordination and cooperation can be established, which will ease the process of the internal auditing.
Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Izzati Syazwani binti Baharudin. I will explain a main idea from the article of accountability from perspective of Malaysian governance that related with our topic, which is audit and hence public sector accountability from a Malaysian perspective.
First is the role of Auditor General. The Auditor General is a key figure in the national accountability process. His position is large, as specified in Article 107 of the Government Constitution, and the Auditor General is not only the auditor for the federal government but also for the other 13 states. He is responsible for maintaining all aspects of protection for assets and public property in the execution of audit function. Second is maintaining all the record and accounts, and third is providing viewpoint of the global monetary statement and on the public agencies. Next, in compliance with the rule, all government financial statements should be transmitted to the Auditor General within 7 months at the end of the year. If at the required time no report is released, the Auditor General should report it to the King of Malaysia, which is Yang di-Pertuan Agong, and to the Parliament respectively. In general, the usual time for the analysis and audit procedure was 3 months. The Auditor General may also instruct every employee for conduct an examination and report directly to him. Reporting his income to Parliament might be his last, perhaps most significant task. Official statement in his annual report also attract considerable attention and addresses his transparency and honesty. Second main finding is the role of the Head of Federation. Under Article 32 Clause 1 of the Constitution, the Head of the Malaysian Federation is Yang di-Pertuan Agong YDPA. His Majesty take priority over all the others, including the Queen, the YDPA second person, the other kings, and the other heads of states. Next, YDPA will inform the government to behave with the accountability in His Majesty's historically respected rule. The Constitution also required the YDPA to assess particularly state relation details. Article 40 Clause 2 in the Constitution indicate that the discussion of the Yang di-Pertuan Agong occurs in the appointment of the Prime Minister, the dissolution of the Parliament, and the calling of the King for the ceremonial meeting. The term discretion may be read in the article, which mean the right. In conclusion, the lack of transparency or accountability in the public sector poses a significant challenge to capital markets performance, worldwide financial growth, and the long-term sustainability. We have to build wider understanding among the people from all parts of the community. They also must be responsible for the manner in which they use those resources. In order to create confidence, the government have reliable and comprehensive report on asset and liability as well as revenue and expenditure. Lastly, it demonstrates accountability and stewardship, reinforce honesty, and by providing full information on all transactions, provide clear and reliable details of the financial effect of choices that are politically, social, and economic.